Wakizashi's Teahouse.
Konnichiwa, minasan. It's Gray from Wakizashi's Teahouse over in Japan. How you doing? Are you good? Are you genki? I'm pretty good, thanks. It's been a hot one today. Another hot day. It's the end of May. I can't believe how hot it's been. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to talking about one of my personal favourite British comedies of all time. Could be controversial choice, yeah, maybe not everyone's favourite. And this film is kind of famous for not being a success when it first came out. It wasn't a success, it was a bit of a disaster, but it's since become, what would you call it, like a cult British film. You know, it's got a cult following, and many people, many creative people, actors, filmmakers, writers have talked about it, have referenced it. It's full of quotes, like it's got a fantastic script. It's one of the things I really like about it. But is it one of those films where, you know, it's good for a certain time of your life? I remember I was really into it when I was a teenager, when I was like older teenager, like early 20s, around that kind of time period maybe. Because anyway, we'll talk about it, we'll see. So let's see who's here, who's in the chat. We got... Nay, there's a time and a place for everything. Is that right? And we got Teahouse29. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to hear that you had a good day. You've been out, you went to the city, you picked up your comics. That's good to hear. And some manga. Okay, interesting. That sounds nice. So, yeah, let me share a picture of the film. We've got the film poster somewhere. Now, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Here we go. So we go into a window. Okay, this is the famous poster. Well, one of the famous posters that came out when the film first came out. There's a more famous one, but it's really small. It's hard to get a good image of it, which is by the artist. I think it's Ralph Steadman. Have you heard of him? He's got a very distinctive style. Yeah, he's a really cool artist. So this is the one I think it's most well known at the moment. Withnail and I, 1987. Can you believe it? 1987. So when I was... Wait a minute, it came out when I was... Let me see if I can do mathematics in my head. A bit of calculation. I was 14 when it came out, so I didn't see it back then. I found the movie later on, you know, when I was, as I say, when I was an older teenager. I think when I was going to art college. It's that kind of film. And, okay, we've got a nice summary in the chat from Nay, who says, here's my summary, crummy lives. Yeah, fair enough, mate. It's pretty crummy. Now... I think this film is kind of hit and miss with a lot of people because it paints a kind of depressing portrait of these two main characters. There are two unemployed actors. You've got Withnail and I, who's actually called Marwood, but I don't think you ever hear his name in the script. Withnail is played amazingly by Richard E. Grant, the fantastic Richard E. Grant, who's done lots of side roles, like lots of side characters, not been a really big star, but you must know who he is, yeah? You know the name. I think I most recently saw him in the awful Marvel TV series Loki. Controversial opinion, I don't care. It was terrible. Another bait and switch by Marvel, but anyway, he played the older Loki. I think that was probably my favourite episode. Like the only decent one when he was in it. So yeah, that's the last time I saw him. And I is played by Paul McGann, who maybe viewers might know from being the Doctor Who from the American TV movie version. Do you remember that? Wasn't too bad that. He played a really good Doctor as well. I liked him. And he's since done a lot of audio work with Doctor Who, doing the audio plays with Big Finish Productions, yeah. So I think this might have been definitely their breakout roles, Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann, both of them. You know, they'd done things before, maybe TV or theatre, but I think this was the first proper movie. Anyway, I'm going to have a bit of a read from the wiki about it. So this is what it's about. Let me tell you, if you haven't seen the movie. Withnail and I is a 1987 British black comedy film written and directed by Bruce Robinson. Loosely based on Robinson's life in London in the late 1960s. So it's set in the 1960s. It's like the end of the decade, the end of the 60s, and that it plays a big part in the film. You know, the kind of real depressing, like coming down with a whimper, or was it a bang? The end of, you know, the supposedly the summer of love, the greatest decade, whatever. Good decade for music. So the plot follows two unemployed actors, Withnail and I. As I say, they're played by Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann. They share a flat in Camden Town in London in 1969. Needing a holiday, they obtain a key to a country cottage in the Lake District. The Lake District, beautiful place. That's near where I used to live, or kind of near, about a 45-minute drive from Manchester. Lake District's great, it's beautiful. Maybe it's probably well known for Beatrix Potter, Peter Rabbit, and they shot some of the Force Awakens scenes there. You know, do you remember the X-Wing scenes where they're flying over the lakes? That was the Lake District. Yeah, who knew? Who knew they had X-Wings in the Lake District? I didn't. So, where were we? So it's this cottage they go to belongs to Withnail's eccentric Uncle Monty, who is played by Richard Griffiths, and he's absolutely amazing in the part. Uncle Monty, he's hilariously crazy, bonkers. I love him. Yeah, they drive there in a really dodgy old Jaguar. The weekend holiday proves less recuperative than they expected. Okay, here we go. There's a little bit about the movie. Withnail and I was Grant's first film. So there we go. It was his first film, and it established his profile. The film featured performances by Richard Griffiths as Withnail's Uncle Monty and Ralph Brown as Danny, the drug dealer. The film has tragic and comic elements and is notable for its period music and many quotable lines. As I say, the screenplay is fantastic. It's worth getting a copy, you know, if you fancy it, if you're interested in it. Very good. I've got the quotes in a separate page. I'm going to read some of them later. So many quotes. And I've got a few very short clips, which I'm going to play. Just a few. Hopefully they'll be all right because there's no music on them, but we'll see what happens. Ralph Brown as Danny the drug dealer is hilarious too. He's like, it's an iconic role. Apparently he really changed his whole appearance and his voice, his delivery when he did the role, and very different to what he sounds like in real life. Now there is there's one or two versions of you on YouTube with Withnail and I. You can watch it for free, I think, if you're lucky. I've been able to watch it in Japan. It's on YouTube. A couple of channels have got it. Got the full movie. There are also some excellent commentaries by some of the actors. I think there's one by Paul McGann and Danny the drug dealer, Ralph Brown. They do a really good funny commentary of the film. And there's one by Bruce Robinson, which is good, but it's very low volume. I remember like trying to like strain to hear it. But yeah, I recommend those. Look out for those on YouTube. So, as it says here, it's been described by the BBC as one of Britain's biggest cult films. It really is a cult film. It's a cult comedy. It's also a kind of tragedy, a tragicomedy. Is that right? Is that even a word? It sounds very Shakespearean, and there are lots of references to Shakespeare in the movie because, you know, they're both actors, well, unemployed actors, so they talk about it. And Uncle Monty, he used to be an actor as well. Oh, I used to tread the boards, as he says. So as it says here, the character I is named Marwood in the published screenplay, but he goes unnamed in the film credits. Okay, let's get back to StreamYard. There we go. So, who's here? Who's there? Oh, no way. Has there been a raid? Is there a raid? There we go. It's a Courtney raid from Monkey Jeebus. How you doing, mate? Oh, I like your new avatar. That looks cool. Uncle Monty, one IOF? One IOF? I'm not sure. Crap. What are you saying, nay, nay, nay? I know, my good friend, nay, 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 over in the land of Vikings, is that right? Don't think you liked it, did you? You didn't enjoy it. He put a comment on the post I put about it saying, yeah, it wasn't very good. Didn't really enjoy it. So I don't know what it is. You know, it's a taste. It could be just my taste, my crazy taste, but maybe it's a British thing as well. It's very sarcastic humour, very dark, kind of black humour, very biting humour. So on those themes, here we go. Let me share one of the clips. Now, let's see if this works. So let me set the scene, okay? So it opens up in their flat. They're sharing a flat in Camden Town. It's freezing cold. I think it's autumn. It's not even winter, but it's autumn, freezing cold. You've got Withnail, Richard E. Grant. He's covering himself in something called Deep Heat, which is like it's a cream that you put on your body. It's supposed to be good for, you know, muscle aches and things. It's a warming cream, some kind of weird thing. And he's covered himself in that. He's just wearing that. He's wearing like a long coat as well. It's really weird. And he's been complaining about, you know, they haven't had work for so long. They're out of work actors. They're better than this. They deserve better. And just let me play. This is only 18 seconds, a short clip. Now, the volume might not be very high, sorry about that. You might have to turn it up to catch it, but we'll see how it goes.
I must have some booze. I demand to have some booze! I wouldn't drink that if I was you. Why not?
Because I don't advise it. Even the wankers on the site wouldn't drink that. That's worse than meth.
Nonsense. This is a far superior drink to meths.
Okay, was that it? It worked. Did it work? Did you hear it? Let me know in the comments. It's a classic scene. He's like, I demand to have some booze. And then he takes a can of lighter fluid, you know, that you used to put in your Zippo lighters. And Marwood, I's saying like, you know, don't do it. Don't drink that. You know, even the crazy people out on the streets, the bums on the streets, don't drink that. It's worse than meths. And he's like, no, this is far better than meths. And the scene goes on to show him he knocks it back. Now, I've heard different rumours about this when they were filming it. They use water, of course, you know, for the practices, for the takes, and then for the final take, supposedly, allegedly, Bruce Robinson, director, he switched water with vinegar. So Richard E. Grant, he knocks back vinegar, so his reaction is kind of supposed to be, you know, genuine. He's like, ugh. So he takes a swig and he's like, oh, have we got any more? And then he coughs it up and pukes up on Marwood's shoes on the floor. It's crazy, crazy scene. Let's see. Okay, no, just let me know. IOF equals pressed enter too soon. 1 IOF, okay. Got it. So yeah, it's a weird one. Let me get some of the quotes here. So you've got like Withnail who's been saying, freezing cold. How can it be so cold in here? It's like Greenland in here. We've got to get some booze. It's the only solution to this intense cold. Now, I need to warn people out there, this is a movie that will make you fancy a drink. If you like drinking, that's fine. If you don't like drinking, you know, if you've given it up, maybe it's not a good movie to watch, because Withnail, the main character, Richard E. Grant's character, basically is a full-blown alcoholic. It's based on one of Bruce Robinson's friends from back in the day when he was an out-of-work actor living in a flat with a friend who apparently he based Withnail on him and a little bit of himself as well, this friend. So, yeah, it also makes me want to have a drink, so I'm going to have a quick toast to it. Wine. I want some wine. Have some wine. There we go. So, okay. Where were we? Yeah, it's a great film. Tragic comedy. Now, let me just have a look at the plot on Wiki. Here we go. So they're out of work, you know, they're complaining about their lot in life. They're struggling to find work. Then they go down the pub, and I want to get the next clip. Down the pub, they order. Again, this one might be a low volume, so please bear with me with that. But just listen to Richard E. Grant's order, see what he gets. Now, apparently there are many drinking games based on this movie. There are various ways that you can watch it and try and keep up with the drinks, which is pretty much impossible. It has to be impossible. Let's see what he does here. So this is where they go into the pub. It's an Irish pub. And there's a crazy scene there as well, which I've not clipped, but a very funny scene.
2 large gins, 2 pints of cider. Ice in the cider.
If my father was loaded, I'd ask him for some money.
Your father's my father, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, that's...
Chin chin.
2 large gins, 2 pints of cider, ice in the cider. Have you ever had a pint of cider with ice in? I haven't. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So, can you imagine trying to keep up with their drinking game during the movie? I mean, 2 large gins to start with. They're not the gins about like a shot, and then they have ice in the cider. I've never had gin as a shot. I don't know about you out there. Let me know if you have in the comments or in the chat. I'm going to check the drinking game on Wiki. So here we go. There is a drinking game associated with the film. It says the game consists of keeping up, drink for drink, with each alcoholic substance consumed by Withnail over the course of the film. Now, what makes this film even better, I think, and what makes his performance amazing is Richard E. Grant, the actor, is a teetotaler. He's actually allergic to alcohol. I think it's similar to quite a few Japanese people have suffered from this. There's a lack of an enzyme in their stomach which they can't process alcohol, so they have a violent reaction to it, basically just get very sick. He's a teetotaler, he doesn't drink, and he's playing a drunk. And some of the scenes where he's playing the drunk, it's amazing. You know, you'd swear he was drunk. Again, this is another rumour, I think allegedly. I think it's true. The director, Bruce Robinson, he took him out once before they started filming just so he could experience being, properly drunk. And, he must have had a drink once in his life to realise he was allergic to alcohol. But Bruce Robinson took him out on the town and, got him drunk. And basically, he had to go to hospital, Richard E. Grant. He was really ill. He was okay, when he was ill. But the doctor, again, it could be just rumours. The doctor warned him that he could have killed him, mate. You could have killed him with what you did. So anyway, there you go. He is actually allergic to alcohol and he's playing a drunk. It's a fantastic, fantastic performance. So yeah, going back to the drinking game, here we go. Try and keep up with each drink that Withnail takes over the course of the movie. All told, Withnail is shown drinking roughly 9.5 glasses of red wine, 1/2 imperial pint of cider, 1 shot of lighter fluid, which is swapped by either vinegar or water. If you're following the game, or rum. They say people use rum. 2.5 measures of gin, 6 glasses of sherry. Oh, sherry. Uncle Monty likes his sherry. 13 drams of Scotch whiskey and 1/2 pint of ale. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Crazy. And here's an interesting fact from Wiki, again, I didn't know about. Check this out. In 1992, the filmmaker David Fincher attempted to create an unofficial reunion of sorts when he tried casting all 3 of the film's main characters in Alien 3. Paul McGann's in it, if you remember. Richard E. Grant turned the role down. And apparently Ralph Brown, Danny the drug dealer, Danny's in it as well, which I didn't know. So, Richard E. Grant turned down the role. It eventually went to Charles Dance, who played the character of Clemens in The Spirit of Withnail. There we go. Now, this doesn't have a source related to it, so I'm not sure if it's true or not. It says it's from a book called Withnail and I, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know But Were Too Drunk to Ask. There we go. Maybe. Okay, now let's go back to the stream. Where are we? How are we doing? Anybody there? Are you still there? Are you still watching? Okay, listen, I've got one person who's watching, and I think it's me. Anyway, that's cool. Let me play the next clip. This is the emergence, the first appearance of Danny, so played by Ralph Brown. Danny the drug dealer. Now, to set it up, let's get a quote from Marwood from I. Before we meet Danny in the flat, Marwood's in the bath. He's taking a bath and he's been talking about speed. It's a great quote as well. I don't have that for you. Oh, here we go. Listen to this. This is from the script. He's in the bath, having a shave, and he's talking. Speed is like a dozen transatlantic flights without ever getting off the plane. Time change. You lose, you gain. Makes no difference so long as you keep taking the pills. But sooner or later, you've got to get out because it's crashing. Then all at once, those frozen hours melt out through the nervous system and seep out the pores. There you go, Bruce Robinson writing that. It's a great scene here, great moment. Okay, let's get to Danny. Where are we? Let me drop the Danny clip. Here we go.
Danny, you're looking very beautiful, man. Have you been away? St. Peter preached the epistles to the apostles looking like that.
What do you think of his voice? It says, as I say, the actor Ralph Brown, apparently he just decided to do it on this first audition. He just kind of, you're looking very beautiful, man. Have you been on a holiday? I can't do it. It's a great performance, and he gets people like quoting lines of his dialogue from the film when he meets them on the street. Random people shouting. He's got so many lines that are famous, which I've not put because they kind of involve, shall we say, illicit substances later on. There's a famous scene with something called a Camberwell carrot, or a Camberwick, is it? Camberwick carrot, which is something that you smoke. I'm just saying, so yeah. Okay. So why do I like this film so much? As I say, it's a kind of film that I think it gets better with reviews, rewatches. The more you watch it, the more you kind of catch. The script, without a doubt, is brilliant. It's cutting, it's biting, it's dark, it hits home sometimes. It shows the kind of worst side of people, the darkest side of people, but also you've got that comedy, that kind of dark humour all the way through it. It's in the background, it's there. And not only that, I think Bruce Robinson, director, he's a very good writer. He's released a few books, a few novels. An interesting one, apparently, I've not read, but he did a big a big one on Jack the Ripper, surprisingly, which I've never read. It's supposed to be a long and very intense book about it. And through that book, he kind of has a go at Britain, at England, especially during the Victorian era, and what, all the problems with England, kind of things that Britain has done wrong over the years. Anyway, I'm kind of curious to check that out. I have read his novel. He's got one novel out. I think one novel. Just let me check it here. I'm going to jump over to Wiki. I will let you know. It's a weird novel. It goes... When was it? Here we go. Give me 1 second. Okay. The Peculiar Memories of Thomas Penman, 1998. So that came out... So Withnail I was 1987. Okay, so 11 years later, he released The Peculiar Memories of Thomas Penman. And it's kind of slightly based on his childhood, the director, Bruce Robinson's childhood. But of course, fantasy as well. I mean, fiction as well. Okay, there's a couple more. There's The Obvious Elephant, he wrote in 2000, and Harold and the Duck in 2005. Not Howard the Duck, Harold and the Duck. And then the Jack Ripper one is called They All Love Jack, Busting the Ripper. Interesting. Okay, how are we doing? Not going to read my previous comment, G. Ha ha ha. Which one was it? There's a time and place, nay, nay, nay. Here's my summary. Crummy lives. IOF equals pressed enter too soon. I don't know. Sorry, I'm lost. Okay. Yeah. So, I'd love to hear anyone in the comments or anyone who watches this later, finds this stream. Please let me know if you've seen the movie. Is it only me? Maybe it's me and one of my, Wakizashi grey takes that I just think it's great, but I want to read a little bit from IMDB. Okay, we have some reviews here. Now, I found one review which I thought was pretty good, pretty interesting. Actually, I'll share it. I'll share the screen. It kind of sums up how I feel about it, about the movie. Where are we? There we go. Okay, share. There we go. Can you see that? Is that showing? Yes, it is. Okay. Here we go. Lost now. The first time I watched Withnail and I in the late 80s, I thought it was pretty good, but that's about it. Over the years and a few more viewings, it really started to grow on me. And recently, rewatching it on DVD for the first time, I was struck at how brilliant and unique it is. Now, this is written by a reviewer called Info Freak, and he published it in 2003, so we're going back. Oh wow, it's almost 20 years ago. No way. It's a very subtle film, really, and most comedy is admittedly a matter of taste. That's what I'm just saying, isn't it? But if this movie clicks with you, you'll most likely end up putting it in amongst your all-time favourites. To me, it's one of the greatest comedies ever. It's intelligent and sad, and genuinely laugh-out-loud funny, something you rarely see these days. The movie is episodic and seems to ramble on, but it's much more than a shaggy dog story. There's an underlying depth and melancholy. That's the word. That's one that I always kind of fail to remember the word. There's a real melancholic feel to this. It makes me feel wistful. It makes me feel sad. It makes me happy, of course. It almost makes you cry at times. There are really, really moving scenes. Sometimes it's uplifting. The quotes, the lines in there. The scenery is nice when they go out to the Lake District and you see some of the views. Yeah, it is nice. And there's a great, great soundtrack. It's a rare movie which is able to use a Beatles song. Do you know the reason why? There's a story behind this. It uses George Harrison's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's a great song. It's a great moment in the film. And the only reason that he was able to use it, because this film was made cheap. Bruce Robinson, he had to scrape the money together, and he had to use some of his own money to finish it, to film some scenes later on, to finish the film. It was made by Handmade Films, and George Harrison owned that company, or he was one of the owners, and he was a producer on the movie, so he allowed the use of it. It also has All Along the Watchtower, the Jimi Hendrix version, and Voodoo Child with Jimi Hendrix. Brilliant. Two great tracks which are used so well. If you're a fan of those, fan of Jimi Hendrix, fan of George Harrison's version of the Beatles, I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, sorry, back to this quick review. So yeah, the underlying depth and melancholy to it, it makes it something special. I think that's what raises it above just being, you know, another kind of independent British comedy. Richard E. Grant has never been better than this. It's interesting that, because it's his first, you know, major role, his breakout role. Playing Withnail and writing his wonderful autobiography cement his place in film history as far as I'm concerned. I've heard about that. Richard E. Grant, supposedly, his autobiography is brilliant. It's supposed to be a really good read, really entertaining, you know, very funny, very clever, very witty. Paul McGann is also excellent. Who'd love to see Paul McGann back as Doctor Who? I would. I bet he wouldn't take it, though, with the state that's in. But don't get me started going down that dark rabbit hole at the moment. Jeez Louise. Yeah, Paul McGann's also excellent, and there are lovely performances from Richard Griffiths as Uncle Monty. Michael Elphick's in it. He plays, who is it? Is it Jake, the poacher, in the Lake District scenes? Really, really iconic. Very short performance, but really iconic. And Ralph Brown as Danny, the drug dealer. Everyone's good in Withnail, but it's still Grant's movie all the way. He's just utterly brilliant. Withnail I is one of the great British movies and comes with my highest recommendation. I would second that. Okay, let me get back to the stream. Oh, how are you doing? Pete, shout out to Pete Dencat. Wasn't Bruce Robinson in the film still crazy? I'm not sure. I do know there's a story about the director, yeah, and he puts one of his early experiences as an actor, because he used to be an actor very early on, he puts it into the movie. There's a story. Do you want to hear this story? Very interesting. He starred in, I think it was Franco Zeffirelli, the Italian director. He starred in his Romeo and Juliet around sometime in the 60s. And he ended up in a room alone with the director. Okay, now this is allegedly, I have to say allegedly, don't I? But it's in his biography, and he puts it in the film. He talks about it on the interviews. He talks about it on his commentary to the movie. Basically, the film director asks him, "Are you a sponge or a stone? You know, are you open to experiencing new things or not?" And he was after him. He basically wanted to shag him. So, and Bruce put it in the movie. It's in the script, and there's a scene like with Uncle Monty who is after Marwood. He's after I. That's how they get the use of Uncle Monty's cottage in the Lake District. Was it very expensive? No. God, I've lost it. I did the quote. Gray, where's the quote? I've lost the quote. Here we go. So, another scene in the movie, you've had Withnail and I, they've gone to see Uncle Monty in his house in London, gone to talk, trying to get the use of his holiday cottage out in the lakes. And you don't see this moment like Withnail, Richard E. Grant's character. Withnail goes for a private talk with Uncle Monty, and basically he's setting up Paul McGann's character, setting him up for, okay, if you let us use the cottage, you can use Paul McGann. You know what I mean? So where are we? Let's see if we can find the quote. It's a crazy moment. This is it. So they walk out of Uncle Monty's house, and he's got the key. Like Paul McGann, he suspects something, so he's like, "What were you doing? What's going off?" Like having a private conversation with Uncle Monty. The guy's crazy. He's bonkers. He's a madman. Here it is. Oh, I've lost it again. Free to those who can afford it, very expensive to those who can't. That's it. And basically, he's got the cottage with the promise of Uncle Monty having a good time at Marwood's expense. Okay, let me get back to the comments. So Pete, nice to see you. I don't know if he's still crazy. It's been years since I watched the film. I remember the chicken. Oh God, the chicken scene. The chicken scenes when they're in the cottage and they've got no food, basically. But they managed to get a local farmer to bring them some fuel to heat the house, heat the cottage, because it's freezing cold. And he gives them a live chicken. They've got to kill this chicken to eat it. It's crazy. Again, a crazy scene where you've got I's character, Paul McGann's character is like, I can't do it, I can't kill it. It's got beady eyes, it's staring at me. Do it quick though, or it might try and make friends with us. Something like that. So yeah, Pete, I recommend you go back and watch it, mate. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube for free. Hello all, by the way. Hey Pete, was it the Led Zeppelin quote that summoned you? Pete's like, I've not seen a Led Zeppelin quote. No, I just saw that Big G was live. Thanks, man. I appreciate you dropping in. It's good to hear that you're getting the notifications because a lot of people don't. And I know this is a very early time for the States, but it's a nice time for the UK and a nice time for Europe. Sunday afternoon. Shout out to Dovier. How you doing? Hey, Gray. Hey, Dovier. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I'm in the middle of episode 5. Okay, are you watching Stranger Things by any chance? Is that what you're talking about, episode 5? Wow, that blew me away. I did a stream on it with Salty, Texas C, and Prophet of the Dragon on Saturday morning, my time, so Friday night. The first 4 episodes of Stranger Things season 4, absolutely brilliant. Just great. Really good. If you want to know why I think so, please watch that stream. But after that, there was a little bit, it kind of lost its footing a little bit. I found it a little bit exposition heavy, and I was talking with Salty about that. Sorry, banging the table. Talking with Salty Texas about that, and they do drop quite a lot of exposition, but it's still very good. Now, I went from watching the first 4 episodes of that, and then I did a live stream. Then I managed to get a copy from a friend of Kenobi, episode 1 and 2. I'd heard it wasn't good. Heard it wasn't great, but I've heard mixed things. Some people saying it's great, Star Wars, it's, back to Star Wars, and people saying no, it's not, it's terrible. I couldn't even finish the first episode of Kenobi. I got about 20-30 minutes in, and I was like skipping ahead, and the scene with Leia as a girl, like the Benny Hill chase, the comedy chase through the forest. It was just terrible. But not just that, it was dull. It was boring. Hugh McGregor was playing was hiding in a cave, playing a coward Kenobi, and I was just like, what is this? Terrible acting, really bad writing, written. Okay, now maybe it's aimed at children. I don't know. I don't think so. Do you? I don't think it's aimed at kids, but it's like it's written by children for children. No, actually, that's a disservice to children. They're a lot more intelligent than that script. So what I'm getting at is I'd gone from Withnail and I've been watching that to get ready for this stream, and a fantastic script, I think. Great dialogue. Went from that, and then I watched the Stranger Things season 4, the first 4 episodes, and the script, the acting by the not quite children now, they're older, but still great acting. The performances, the plot, the way they were doing the different the different plot lines, and the jump cuts and things. It was great. Music. And then I watched Kenobi, and I was like, God, what a come down. So there you go. That's my opinion on Kenobi. I couldn't even finish the first episode, and I've got no interest, even though I've been asked, Gray, you should watch it. Watch episode 2. You'll find it funny. I haven't got the time. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. I went on a total tangent, didn't I? You've been binging it all night, Dovier. Okay, I'm glad to hear. Are you enjoying it? Because I say there was me, there was Salty Texas and Prophet, and we were just we were having an online live streaming nerdgasm about Stranger Things, just freaking out, wow, like little kids going, do you see that bit? And what about this bit? And do you remember this? And we were talking over each other. It was a crazy stream, but nice to be excited and positive about something. I am pretty positive most of the time, but I really recommend it. As I say, especially the first 4 episodes are great, and it's good. It does carry on. It doesn't lose it. It doesn't lose the plot. It's still very good, but it gets a little bit exposition heavy, if you know what I mean. There's a little bit too much tell later on, and whereas they were doing a lot of show to begin with. But hey, you can't help having show and tell and some tell, can you? Cheers, by the way. I demand to have some booze, says Withnail many times in the movie. We're not talking about Stranger Things today. Sorry, Dovia. Yeah, we're talking about Withnail and I. On that note, let me drop another clip. It's a 1987 it's become a cult classic British comedy about 2 unemployed actors living at the end of the 60s. It's set in 1969 in London, and they're out of work. One's an alcoholic, the other one's like his good friend, and they both drink too much. They take too many drugs. They escape from London for a weekend in the country, which turns out to be a crazy, bonkers, funny nightmare in the country. So speaking of that, let me drop a clip from this weekend in the country. Okay. They go out to a pub. This is out in the Lake District, near where I'm from. It's beautiful part of England, but it gets a lot of rain, can be cool, very green. And they go to this pub, and Marwood, the I character from the movie, he's describing it as the inside of like a smoker's lung. It's like a tarred lung or something, the colour of tar. And the barman, the owner of the pub, he's an old, complete and utter alcoholic who used to be in the army, an old serviceman. So I want to play this clip from that. It's a very short clip where they're in the pub and they're just talking to the man behind the bar, and listen to his accent, listen to... Well, I was going to get that comment, sorry. Listen to his accent, listen to what he says, and look at the colour of his face. It's so funny. This guy looks like he is absolutely hammered.
But I was going for a minute. No man's put me down yet. You had any training in the martial arts?
Do you get that? What do you think? Oh, God, it's cool. So that's what we're talking about, Dovier. Thanks for dropping in. Withnail and I. I recommend it. As I say, it's on YouTube for free if you can find it. You got Nene saying it's such a sad scene with Monty having put on makeup. Yeah, just so pitiful. There's a scene later on where they're in the cottage and Monty's come to join them, and the reason they've got the cottage is because Monty's on a promise. Richard E. Grant's character Withnail has set up his friend that Monty's gonna, come and have his way with him, basically have a good time with him. That's why they got the use of the cottage. And there's a scene where he tries to seduce Paul McGann, the I character, Monty, the old man, and not old man, like the eccentric fat uncle, and he's put like rouge on. He's got eye makeup, and it's based on supposedly a true thing that happened to the director Bruce Robinson when he was approached by Franco Zeffirelli, the Italian director, when they were making Romeo and Juliet. He said the exact same thing happened to him. Wow. Okay, Pete, Still Crazy is a good British feel-good movie, worth a watch. Is that based on... wait a minute. Still Crazy. I know the name, I know the film, I should know it. It's not by the same people who did Spinal Tap, is it? The Spinal Tap team? No? This is Spinal Tap. What a movie, by the way. Yeah, lazy on a Sunday afternoon, says Nay Nay. Okay, Dovia, you saw Obi-Wan. The acting was terrible, wasn't it? It wasn't just me, right? I mean, Ewan McGregor's, decent. He's always good. The lead main, was it the Grand Inquisitor, was all right, but the diversity hire, the one they're making the bait and switch, the very good, very, very beautiful looking black actress, she was terrible. She couldn't act. Her accent was like really like modern day America, and the delivery was like a bit like this. And yeah, I'm just going to get angry, and I will kill him and his family if you don't tell me what I want to know. It was, oh man. So yeah, again, sorry guys for going on tangents, but to go from like Stranger Things 4, which I recommend, especially the first 4 episodes, great writing, good performances, good acting, you get invested in the characters, there were stakes in it, and then watching Kenobi just like left scratching my head. I couldn't finish it. I turned it off. Nay, he's talking to Dovier. The subject matter of today is a feel-bad movie from '87. It doesn't make me feel bad. It makes me laugh. It almost made me cry sometimes as well, but I'm an old softie. The title says Withnail and I chill streams, so the title means nothing, right? Yeah, fair enough, mate. That's the title of the movie. Okay. Shall I share the IMDb page? How about that? Let's go back to that. I want to put on my posh British accent when I'm talking about Withnail and I, because I just love Richard E. Grant's performance. So good. So good in this movie. Here we go. Now, how do we do this again? Share. Okay, hopefully that's not playing the trailer with sound, is it? I might get struck for that, so... Okay, it's paused. Good. There's the iconic poster image. Now, if I click on this, I think it's really small, but I'll try it. This is the one by Ralph Steadman. Oh, it's not too bad. I love this. I love this image. I love his art style. Very kind of gritty, scratchy, pen and ink style. You've got the, stomach's rumbling. You've got the dartboard there, very British scene. Look at the Union Jack flags on the darts. Do you ever play darts? Do you know darts? An independent film made by what used to be George Harrison. I think he was part owner of the Handmade Film Company, which made a few independent British films back in the day. So yeah, my chill stream just means chill out and chat and talk with you guys in the chat. Oh, thanks, Nene. Thanks for the clarification. So, yeah, it's a cult British movie from '87 by some with poor taste in movies considered a British classic. Ooh, scathing, harsh comments by Nene. Okay, so it's a movie. By the title, I just thought Gray was chatting with someone with the name. Oh, yeah, Withnail and I. No, it's me on my own. That's a good comment, man. That's cool. Okay. And Lipstick 2. Later on, Griffiths would star in a brilliant TV series named Birds of Prey. Really? That's not based on the DC Comics, is it? DC Comics characters? Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey? No. Okay, thanks, Pete, for the clarification again. Not the Spinal Tap Gang. You might be thinking of A Mighty Wind. That's great. Yeah, that's a great movie. Again, is it by the folk? It's based on it's a comedy about folk musicians, folk bands. Is that right? Still Crazy is about a rock band, but it has Billy Connolly, Jimmy Nail, Timothy Spall, and Bill Nye, plus others. Okay, great. Yeah. You got some names from probably most Americans won't be familiar with. Well, you probably know Billy Connolly, don't you? He was in The Last Samurai. Great Scottish comedian back in his day. He was really good. Timothy Spall, funny enough, he was in Last Samurai too. Woo, what a coincidence. Jimmy Nail, won't know him. He was an actor, a Geordie, an actor, and he became a singer as well. Bill Nye, who's been in all sorts of things, hasn't he? So that's a poster for Withnail and I. Okay, I'll stop sharing that. There we go. I think it's time for another clip. I think I've got two more. So again, so many quotable lines in this movie. We've got one. Let me set the scene. The next one is... Okay, the next one is my final clip. Clip 5. Now... To set the scene, Withnail and I, the characters, they're out in the cottage in the Lake District, and it's raining, it's bad weather, it's really muddy. They're in a kind of abandoned... it's not abandoned, it looks abandoned. It looks like an abandoned farmhouse. Mud everywhere outside. They've got no boots, Wellington boots, you say that? Is that a British English phrase? Rubber boots, or Wellington boots. So Uncle Monty, he gives them some money, sends them out to go and buy some boots. And they don't, of course. They go down the pub and get drunk. And after getting drunk again, they come out of the pub like steaming drunk. Again, it's a great performance because Richard E. Grant... stop sharing. Richard E. Grant is a teetotaler and he's playing a drunkard, playing an alcoholic. Fantastic performance. They come out of the pub and they're like, right, we need something to soak up this booze. We need some cake. They see a cake shop and they go into this cake shop. It's a very kind of proper, old ladies and old gentlemen cake shop, and they walk in, these two drunk out of work actors, and I want to play one of my favorite scenes, favorite lines. Here we go.
You're drunk. Just bring out the cake and fine wine.
If you don't leave, we'll call the police.
Balls. We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here and we want them now.
Miss Blenner has it. Telephone the police.
What do you think? Did you catch it? Is that all right? Let's see if I can find the quote here. So earlier on he was talking about demanding booze, and he's like, "We want the finest wives." Jesus, Gray with the Freudian slip there. "We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now." I can't do his accent. It's an awesome, very, RP, BBC News, Queen's English accent that Richard E. Grant does in the whole movie. He's great. What a performance. Again, don't forget, comedies are down to taste, and it's my personal taste. I just think it's hilarious, it's funny, it's sad, it's tragic, and it's full of quotable lines. There we go. I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's get back to the comments. Yeah, that dartboard poster is rather fine. It's a good one, isn't it? As I say, I think the artist is called Ralph Steadman. Steadman, I might be right there. Yeah, great artist back in his day. Oh, hello. We've got, let's see if we can get this right. Kazi Nadbir Alamadid, your thoughts on the MCU shows thus far? I feel like they don't understand how television as a medium works. Well, mate, I don't know if you were watching earlier. I was talking a little bit about, I mentioned Loki briefly because Richard E. Grant the guy who's in the movie I'm talking about on this stream. He played the older version of Loki, which was quite a funny performance, but I haven't enjoyed any of the Marvel streaming shows. Apart from maybe a little bit of Falcon and Winter Soldier and a little bit of Hawkeye, the opening of Hawkeye. The first few were okay in Hawkeye. I like the Christmas setting, I like the comedy feel to it, but at the end it lost me. Call me Adit. Is it Adit or Adit? My nickname. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the chat. So, sorry about that, guys. Back to the movie. The cake shop scene was pretty good. A reasonable shock for the local stuck-ups. Yeah. Also, them walking around with plastic bags on their feet. It's because they didn't have any boots, and there was like there was mud everywhere. You know, it'd been chucking it down, as you say, British English. Chucking it down, chucking it, pissing it down with rain. No Wellington boots, so they've got like, they wrapped like plastic bags around the feet when they went out. Hilarious. And thanks, Nene, thanks for shouting out to Adi in the chat. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. How did you find the stream? And apologies, it's not about Marvel movies or Marvel TV, but I'm not on that tonight. Yeah. Although I've got a controversial opinion about Doctor Strange 2. Most people didn't like it. Well, a lot of people liked it, but most people that I hang around with or I talk with said it was terrible. I enjoyed parts of that movie because I liked Sam Raimi, the director. I liked his visual style. I wish it had been his full cut. You know, it got completely cut. I'd like to see the Sam Raimi cut of it, but just saying. But yeah, and there were good performances in that by, what's he called? Benedict Cabbage Patch. Is that right? Am I pronouncing that right? Sorry, don't mean to offend anybody out there. He was good, and Elizabeth Olsen was pretty good as Scarlet Witch. Yeah, and Benedict Wong as well. Do you get two Benedicts in that? He was good as Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. Just saying. Okay, guys, back to the chat. Adi saying he highly recommends seeing Superman and Lois. It's a great Superman show. Has my absolute favourite live-action versions of both Superman and Lois. I've heard very good things about it. I don't have access to it in Japan. Now, I know there are ways, but I'd like to be able to see it, you know, properly, like watch it. But we don't have CW. We can't watch it in Japan. We don't have HBO access to that. There is a streaming service which does show some of the HBO series, but it's really expensive. It's ridiculous. It's something like, works out about $30 a month if you want that streaming service. Forget about that. Funnily enough, it's called You Next. Next. I'm not doing that. Not subscribing to that one. So yeah, mate, I've heard that the Superman and Lois is very good. It's well played. It's well written, well acted, and it's a great version of Superman, being a hero. How nice, how refreshing. Doctor Strange 2, Nene says it's more Phase 4, meh. That kind of rhymes, mate. More Phase 4, meh. Very good. And thank you to Nene. So, for those who've joined the stream a little bit late, let me show you one of the early clips from Withnail and I, just to give you an idea. Again, I've got to show you. The first one, here we go. We've got Richard E. Grant covering himself in deep heat, this like kind of cream to warm you up because it's freezing cold in their flat. They've got no heat on, got no money, and they run out of booze.
I must have some booze. I demand to have some booze! I wouldn't drink that if I was you.
Why not?
Because I don't advise it. Even the wankers on the site wouldn't drink that. That's worse than meth.
Nonsense. This is a far superior drink to meths.
By the way, anyone out there, I don't advise you ever going near lighter fluid or anything like that. Jesus. You know, again, the director, Bruce Robinson, he talks about this in one of his commentaries. There's one that you can watch on YouTube for free. He does a commentary about the movie. It doesn't show the movie, it just shows him talking about it. And he based the Richard E. Grant's character, Withnail, on his friend at the time when they were living in a similar kind of situation, out of work, actors in a flat in London. And one time his friend actually did drink some lighter fluid, you know, which is used to, you put in your lighter, Zippo lighter, basically as bad as or worse than methylated spirits. And he said he went blind for something like 4 or 5 days. He went bloody blind from it. And he later on in his life, he was an alcoholic. This guy, unfortunately, he really was a full blown. I mean, we're talking bottles and bottles of spirits, proper spirits, alcoholic. He died of cancer, and Bruce Robinson theorizes that he thinks that had something to do with it, like drinking that lighter fluid just that once. He thinks that gave him throat cancer or lung cancer, whatever he ended up with. So, just saying. Sorry to bring the mood of the stream down. I mean, we are talking about Withnail now, after all. As Nene keeps pointing out, it's he doesn't like it. It's a very grim, depressing movie to him. I think it's a very black comedy, very dark, sarcastic humour that maybe doesn't work with some people. I don't know. But you got to admit it's well written. So speaking of that, let's go back to some of the quotes. No, actually, before I do that, let me read from the reception it got. Because as I say, this movie was not a success. It came out in the UK. Here we go. Here's some supposed facts and figures from Wikipedia. So please excuse me for relying on that. The budget was £1.1 million, British pounds. So I'm not sure what that is in dollars, but it wasn't very much at the time. It made $1.6 million worldwide. That was a worldwide take, but I'm sure it lost money. I don't think Bruce Robinson, the director, who invested his own money in it, it's his script, he wrote and directed it, I don't think he made any money from it. That's what he said. Here we go, let's get back down to the reception. But he did win the Best Screenplay Award, 1988, Evening Standard, British newspaper, the Evening Standard British Film Awards. So he got the Best Screenplay. I used to have a copy of the screenplay. I bought it. I loved it. I went through a phase of writing it. But again, it could be one of those movies where it's just right at the right time for you. It works when I was a student. When I was like smoking, you know what I mean, and drinking. Not like Withnail. I wasn't a proper drinker like that, but I just found it very funny. And it's a funny movie to watch when you're a little bit herbally challenged, if you know what I mean, or whatever. But also, I'm watching it straight, and getting the lines and getting the performances. There's a lot of slapstick comedy in here as well. Physical comedy by the actors. And I keep going back to it. Richard E. Grant playing a drunk man who doesn't drink. Who's allergic to alcohol in real life. The actor, he can't drink. He's actually physically ill if he drinks alcohol. He plays a brilliant drunk. So here we go. In 1999, the British Film Institute voted Withnail and I the 29th greatest British film of all time. Wow. I don't know about that, but it's certainly one of the best comedies, British comedies, yeah. 2009 poll by The Guardian among film critics and filmmakers, they said it got the second place in over the best British films the last 25 years. It came second. 2017, a poll of 150 actors, directors, writers, producers and critics for Time Out magazine. Again, it's a British magazine. The film was ranked the 15th best British film ever. So they're not just saying comedy, they're saying the film. The line from the movie, "We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, we want them now," delivered by Richard E. Grant as Withnail, was voted the third favourite film one-liner in a poll of 1,000 film fans. There you go. In 2000, the readers of Total Film magazine voted Withnail and I the third greatest comedy of all time. Now, I sound like, I'm fighting, no, I'm not. Everyone's opinion is their own, Some films work for some people, some films don't work for the people, so I'm just saying. But it's got a good reputation in the UK, but maybe it is only in the UK. I don't know. People I grew up with, my friends enjoyed it. My older brother, I think he likes it, I think. Yeah, and I've heard, where are we? Roger Ebert, back in the day when he was still alive, gave it a 4-star review, added the film to his great movies list, describing Richard E. Grant's performance as a tour de force and Withnail as one of the iconic figures in modern movies, modern films. Yeah. Apparently, Shane Black, the director Shane Black, writer and director, he talked about it inspiring his movie The Nice Guys, which is that the one with Russell Crowe and Robert Downey Jr.? Or is it Val Kilmer? Robert Downey Jr. I'm not sure which one. Yeah, it might be Val Kilmer. And here we go. In 2010, Paul McGann, who plays the I character. Paul McGann said that he sometimes meets viewers who believe the film was actually shot in the 1960s, like it's set in 1969. And Paul McGann's quoted as saying, "It comes from the mid-1980s, but it sticks out like a Smith record. Its provenance is from a different era. None of the production values, none of the iconography, none of the style remotely has it down as an 80s picture." Yeah, I get what he means, and when you watch it, I think if you watch the commentary by Paul McGann and Danny the drug dealer's character, the actor, sorry, I think it's Ralph Brown, if you watch their commentary, they talk about it. The only scenes that really show it to be in the 80s is the motorway scenes. When they're driving the British motorway, you see the signs, and they're obviously not from the 1960s. That's about it. I'd say great soundtrack. The original music's very good. It's got a nice kind of melancholic, sad sort of soundtrack to it. It sounds like it's using, what's it called, accordion or organ sometimes. And it's also got great use of While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles, thanks to George Harrison being one of the producers of the movie. And the tracks by Jimi Hendrix, Voodoo Child, and All Along the Watchtower. So cool. There we go. Okay, let me get back to StreamYard. How are we doing? Are we still there? Are you here? Are you here? I love it when people like chatting away in the chat. It's great to see you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining me for one of my chill streams. I'm learning my craft as I go, like trying to learn to talk, about something for more than 20 minutes. I was terrible when I was young, when I was in school. I hated giving speeches. I hated standing up in front of the class. Giving you had to give a talk in one of your lessons, doing a project, doing a presentation. I hated all that. I was very shy. Can you believe it? And now, I know I'm not talking to anyone really, I'm just talking to my camera. Hi, but I'm talking to you, and you out there, I really am. And I'm really glad to get the interaction in the chat, I really appreciate it. And now I've ended up being an English teacher working in Japan, so I'm always standing in front of people. Isn't that crazy? What a crazy world. Okay, thanks Nene, thanks for the comment, I'll check this out. He says, he's got a similar comedy here in Scandinavia, The Bench by Per Fly. Think you might enjoy that one. Okay, cool. Thank you. I will note that. I've got my little notebook here. By the way, I made no notes for this movie. I'm terrible. I know I was kind of lazy. I just doing a kind of stream of consciousness talk about it and relying on a bit of Wikipedia and some of the quotes. But yes, let me write that down. The Bench, okay, by Per Fly. I will look out for that. Cool. We have Adit saying, I'm also in the boat of Doctor Strange. You like parts of it? Okay. Cool. Good to hear. Because, again, it could just be me. But I got quite a bit of flack for, saying... I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying I like some of the scenes in it. I like the Doctor Strange scenes, the visual scenes, the passing through the multiverse scenes, some of the kind of horror scenes. I mean, within the limits of a Disney Marvel movie, don't forget, this is Disney. You're only going to get so much creepy and horror kind of feeling to a movie. The Sam Raimi scenes, I like those a lot. And as Adit's saying here, Sam Raimi was only given full control over parts of the movie. He was added later on. The original director was Scott Derrickson, who was the director of the first movie, and he wanted to go for a full-on horror. I think he even wanted to try and get, R-rated, and Disney were like, no way, and they... I don't know if they booted him off the movie or he left, citing creative differences. And then Sam Raimi was brought in. Apparently, I've heard anything from 40 to 80% was reshot at the last minute. 40 to 80% of the original cut is on the cutting room floor somewhere. We don't know if we've got Sam Raimi's cut. We don't know if we've got Scott Derrickson's leftover cut. I think we've got Disney Marvel's final cut. That's what I think we've got. And Adi, again, thanks, mate. Fun fact. Okay, the actor who plays the current TV Superman, Tyler, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Ho Chi Minh, joking, Ho Chi Minh. I heard this. He did audition for the part in Man of Steel, but felt that the script of the movie didn't reflect the character. But he still auditioned and he was rejected, and Henry Cavill got it, didn't he? The joke's on them. No way. Okay, I've only seen photos of him. I've seen the trailer for the Lois... Is it Superman and Lois, sorry? The CW series. I've seen the trailer and he does look good. But come on, man. Henry Cavill. He looks great as Superman, in my opinion. But there will never be another Christopher Reeve. Just saying. He was Superman. Okay, then saying, what I was saying before about the movie. Maybe that's it, G. I never did smoke anything except a couple of huffs from Dad's cigarettes, making me vomit. That's good for you. Good for you, good for your lungs, good for your body, good for your health, good for your wallet. I don't smoke anymore. I went through a stage of kind of smoking when I used to drink, drink and smoke. When I was out in the pub or out in a club, a couple of smokes. And I did used to smoke something else, but don't anymore. Not for a long time. Wow, that's a long time ago. When I was young and stupid. Still stupid now, I'm just old. I will watch the movies just saying, however, streaming services in my country are insanely expensive. Oh, mate, I hear you. I'm in Japan, yeah, I don't know if you know that. I'm from the UK originally, but I've been in Japan for a long time. Netflix isn't too expensive. Disney Plus isn't, but I had that for about a month and I cancelled it after their recent behaviour and because their content's pretty crap. Although they do have some good content from Hulu on there. I was quite enjoying the Orville, and they've got Buffy. I used to love Buffy back in the day. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They got the series on there and Angel, but I just couldn't like give money to Disney anymore for what they kind of stand for these days and the rumours you hear about what's been going on there. Anyway, don't get me started on that. Yeah, so in Japan, the Japanese version of HBO, which we don't really get, it's a very limited version, is 3,000 yen a month, which is about between $25 to $30. What a rip-off. How crazy is that? So I understand. Okay, so yeah, as Nene's saying, if anyone wants to watch Withnail and I, it's on YouTube. There are a couple of versions on YouTube. There's a really good... I think there's it's not 1080p, but there's a good quality version. It says 1080p, HD version. It's good quality version there. I don't know if it's got subtitles. That's the only problem. Probably hasn't got subtitles. Ryan Gosling. Pete. Ryan Gosling. Now, what was that reference to? Oh, God. What am I like? I say I'm going off on tangents. Another fun fact for Superman Returns, Bryan Singer is a fan of Donner's Superman movies. Sent a script to Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve sent it back saying that it make it entertaining and less boring. That's a good one. That's a good quote. I kind of enjoyed parts of Superman Returns, Bryan Singer's version, but it was boring, wasn't it? It wasn't fun. Superman movies are meant to be fun, aren't they? Yeah, I agree. Apparently, he, according to Adit, let me know if I'm pronouncing it right, mate. Where's the stress? Adit or Adit? Christopher Reeve specifically said the script for Superman Returns is one of the most boring scripts of all time. Almost as boring as Kenobi. Just saying, episode 1, which I couldn't finish. Oh, dear. Yeah, mate, I hear you. That's the discovery of getting old. The horrific discovery of getting old. Some of us don't become wiser. We just get stupid in a more slower way. I don't know. Sometimes I feel wiser, like I've got a better idea of who I am, but then again, I make some stupid decisions sometimes, like a lot of people. What can you say? On that note, let me give you try and give you a good quote from the movie. We've got this is early on in the movie where you got Withnail and I in their flat in Camden Town in London, freezing cold in autumn, no heat is on, they've got no money, they've run out of booze, and Richard E. Grant, Withnail, is complaining. How can it be so cold in here? It's like Greenland in here. We've got to get some booze. It's the only solution to this intense cold. Something's got to be done. We can't go on like this. I'm a trained actor reduced to the status of a bum. I mean, look at us. Nothing that reasonable members of society demand as their rights. No fridges, no televisions, no phones. Much more of this and I'm going to apply for Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels. It's great. Crazy. And then we want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, we want them now. And I'll give you a quote from Uncle Monty, Richard E. Griffiths, who's, again, it's a great performance. Oh man. This is later on in the movie where they've gone out to the cottage in the country and he's out with them, they're walking out, enjoying the fresh air. Where are we? And it starts to get dark. It looks like it's going to rain. And Richard Griffiths, there's two Richards in this movie. Uncle Monty, the eccentric, camp, very gay Uncle Monty, who's out for a good time with Paul McGann's character. Little does Paul McGann's character know, he's talking about it. He's like, come on lads, let's go home. The sky's beginning to bruise. Night must fall and we shall be forced to camp. Again, I wish I could do his accent. It's such a good accent. It's very RP, British English, Queen's English, but also with a camper side to it as well. Another one is talking to them in the cottage. It's like, oh my boys, we're here at the end of an age. We live in a land of weather forecasts and breakfasts that set in, shat on by Tories, shovelled up by Labour, and here we are, we three, perhaps the last island of beauty in the world. There we go. Oh God, crazy. Okay, how you doing? Are you still there? Are you still here? Is it just me? Okay, thanks mate. Adit's saying that he feels Henry Cavill can be an absolute likeable Superman. However, no one ever thinks that Cavill's personality is good as it is. Why do they keep making his Superman more like Homelander? Is it Scott Snyder's script? I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's a dark play. It's a dark, kind of dull, depressing version of Superman, isn't it? Yeah. I kind of enjoyed it the first time I saw it. There were things I like about Man of Steel, but there are a lot of things I don't like. But I did like Cavill's performance. I thought he had a poor script. Oh, Pete, that's it, Pete. Thank you, mate. Thanks for clearing that up. Pete Denkart is saying the movie I was talking about, which Shane Black, Nice Guys movie, which he said was kind of a little bit inspired by Withnail and I, the two guys in it. It was Ryan Gosling with Russell Crowe. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was the Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. film. Nice one, mate, nice one. That's brilliant, Pete. Look at you with the movie knowledge. Two good movies, by the way. I recommend them both. What do you reckon? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is funny and dark and a bit scary and yeah. And The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. Very good, very funny movies with good scripts. This is Shane Black, isn't it, who wrote bloody The Predator. Didn't he write the script to that? Did he direct it as well? What happened with that? I'm not talking about the original Predator, I mean the most recent, horrific, terrible version. Have you seen that in the chat? Anyone seen the Predator? I must stress the. I demand to have some booze. Just joking. Yeah, hey, happy Sunday from Purple Valkyrie, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you for dropping in, I really appreciate it. There we go. Purple, if you're still there, let me know if you've seen Withnail and I. Let me know in the chat, because if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. And there's a version on YouTube that you can watch for free, but you've got to be in the right mood. It's a very performance-based movie. It's, you know, some people could say it's a bit boring, it's a bit slow, but the writing and the performances and some of the slapstick comedy, great. Nathan Nay's talking to Pete in the chat saying, I remember that Robert Downey Jr. pissing on the dead body. That really made me laugh. God, that's a crazy scene. It is. It's a laugh out loud scene in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, right? Wow, scary scene. And Pete's replying to my comment saying, my mates call me an encyclopedia of useless information. Haha. Wait, why am I laughing? It's never useless especially when you're on a crazy graze Wakizashi streams in the middle of the night or middle of the morning, wherever you are, middle of the afternoon. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. That's cool. Is it time for another quote? Another film clip? I think it is. For those who've come later, let me drop the iconic Danny, the drug dealer, played by Ralph Brown. This is his first appearance in a movie.
Danny? You're looking very beautiful, man. Have you been away? St. Peter preached the epistles to the apostles looking like that.
You're looking very beautiful, man. Have you been on holiday? Have you been away? St. Peter preached the epistles to the apostles dressed like that. Is that right? Have I got it? Something like that. Okay, Purple, you have seen it, but it's a long time ago. Okay, the same as Pete. Pete was saying that in the chat. It might be time for a rewatch. If you've got a spare, is it about an hour and a half, hour 40 on a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon maybe? It could be good. Could be good to watch. I don't think Nene's a fan. No, he's definitely not a fan. He didn't enjoy it. I think it was too depressing. The bleakness, their kind of hopelessness of their living conditions kind of got to him. That's why I like it though. I like that it switches from the dark, depressing reality of their out of work actor lives in London in 1969, in the UK, in Britain. It just looks a right mess. It's very good at the way it shows that. There's lots of. Is it Baudelaire, the poet, the French poet, who was talking about like the loss of, decay, basically sets in, decay kills beauty, something like that. There's a lot of that in the movie. I think Bruce Robinson, the writer and director, was a big fan of Baudelaire. He talks about it on his film commentary. Let me see if I can find that. I think one of the quotes by Uncle Monty in the movie, he talks about this. Yeah, maybe that bit where I was talking about, the last island of beauty in the world. Could be that part. He talks about, we are the end of an age, boys, the end of an age. So you can't have, beauty without decay. Everything's got to age, everything's got to die in the end. Wow. Where did this come from? There we go. Okay, let me get back to you guys in the chat. He reprises that role in Wayne's World 2. Really? Which role's that? Oh, hey, don't. You have to apologise. Thank you for dropping in. Nice to meet you. Nice for you to join the chat. I appreciate it. You take care. Mother isn't feeling very well. You went checking her. She's after something to eat. Okay, you take care. Thank you. Have a good day. As I say in Japan, mata ne. That means like, see you later. I'll see you again. Don't say sayonara. That sounds too final. Sayonara. Okay. Yeah, good on you. Thanks, Nene. You're still there. So, Nene, can you drop a little bit more in the chat what you didn't like about it? Or shall I go back to your comment on on YouTube? Nene also dropped that he's not a fan of Trainspotting, the first movie. Or the second, I don't know. I'm a big fan of that as well. Again, maybe it's the British humour, I don't know. It worked for me. I'm a fan of the book as well. It's a dark book. It's a dark book, isn't it? Irvine Welsh, written in kind of the dialect of Scotland as well. Scotland. It's a hard read, but it's a great read. It can be a dark book. It's a dark movie, isn't it? Dark themes. Okay. Wow, a bit of coincidence there. Nene saying the drug dealer is like an undercurrent of black on bleak. Yeah, there's a great line from Danny, the drug dealer, later on in the movie where he talks about, let me find it it's on Wikiquote here. He's talking about that. This is near the end of the film, and he's talking about the end of the decade, the end of the 60s. He says, I'll try and do it in his voice. No, I'll do it in my voice. If you're hanging onto a rising balloon, you're presented with a difficult decision. Let go before it's too late, or hang on and keep getting higher, posing the question, how long can you keep a grip on the rope? They're selling hippie wigs in Woolworths, man. The greatest decade in the history of mankind is over. And as Presuming Ed here has so consistently pointed out, we have failed to paint it black. I can't do it. I can't do his accent. It's awesome. But yeah, like the end of an era, the end of a decade, we're talking about the end of... This is the writer and director Bruce Robinson's thoughts. It's his take on it. I mean, a lot of people say the 60s was the greatest decade, but there were a lot of problems with the 60s, and it was followed by the 70s. I mean, I'm a fan of the 70s because I was born in the 70s. I'm a 70s child. Just saying. Thanks, Purple. Take care to Adi. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. And hey to nay, nay, nay. That rhymes too. Says nay. You're really good with these. What are they called, these? Where you use like abbreviations, is that the word? You use letters for things. I have no idea what these things mean. I know a few. I know, like, SMH is shaking my head, which is like most people when they're watching my live streams. Like, what is he going on about? Shaking my head. LOL, of course, is laugh out loud, or lots of love. Lots of love. On that note, cheers. Here we go. I demand to have some booze. So how we doing? How you guys doing out there? Are you good? Are you Genki? Ah, wow. I had a bit of a sad day. Not really sad. Just let me clarify. Not really sad. I'll tell you what happened to me today. Grey on a tangent. I'm from Manchester, okay? Now this is going to get confusing. If you're football, I say football, you say soccer in America. I'm a football fan. I'm from Manchester, so I should support either Man United, yeah, or Man City. I don't. This is sacrilegious to people from Manchester. I support Liverpool. Before you kill me, Pete, if you're still there in the chat, before you kill me out there, I support Liverpool because my father, my dad, dear old John, he's a Scouser. He was from Liverpool. He grew up in Liverpool. When I was young, he used to take me to Anfield. I used to see some of the games when I was a kid. I was so lucky. We drive down from Manchester. It's only like about 45, 50-minute drive down the motorway to Liverpool. It's that close. Manchester and Liverpool, very close. Big rivals in football. Excuse me. 1 second. Well, should be. Oh, that's not a Japanese beer, but for a change, that's a red wine. But so yeah, I used to watch them when I was a kid. So I grew up supporting Liverpool, and I was living in Manchester. Can you imagine what my school life was like? Just saying. That's why I learnt jiu-jitsu. No, I'm joking. I learnt jiu-jitsu many years too late. But yeah, where was I going with this? I just totally lost the thing I was talking about. Yeah, so that's why I'm sad today. Liverpool played Real Madrid in the European UEFA Champions League Cup final. Saturday, Europe time. It was Saturday night. It was like, I think it was 9 p.m. in Paris, in France. So in Japan, it worked out Sunday morning, 4 a.m. Now, I didn't get up to watch it because I don't have... It's on a streaming service in Japan called WoW. Do you like that? WoW. That's a real streaming service. They do movies and they do like lots of live events. They had it, and fortunately, my Mrs. Wakizashi's parents have got that. So I went to see it. They did a replay of the game today at 1 p.m. I went to watch it. I didn't know the result. I stayed off the internet. Didn't know what had happened. Now, spoilers if you're a fan out there, you probably know about it. If you're a football fan, I don't know. I went to watch it, and guess what? We played well, Liverpool. They were doing well. They looked like they were going to score. The Real Madrid keeper had a great game, made some great saves, and we lost 1-0. Another final we lost. We lost to Real Madrid, I think, 4 years ago. Is that right? In the same final, same competition. So it was a good game. They played well, but Real Madrid were playing poorly the first half, but they got better the second half. They came more into it, and it was a good goal. And to be fair, they had 2 goals. One of their goals was disallowed for offside, and it should have stood. It should have been a goal, so it should have been 2. Just saying. So yeah, there we go. So that's why I'm a little bit sad today. Adi, you're still here, man. I thought, okay, you go and take care of your mum. Your mum. Mums are the... Was it mothers are the... Mother is the word for God on the lips of all children. Something like that. That's a paraphrase of a great quote from The Crow. Brandon Lee. Great movie. Which... They're talking about remaking. Don't remake The Crow. It's a great film. It should stand as it is. He recommends everyone to watch Battlestar Galactica, the miniseries, the remake. Yeah, is that you're talking about the 2003 Ronald D. Moore remake? Fantastic. Although I haven't finished it. Shockingly, I've only got about halfway through. This was a while ago. I enjoyed the first half of it, but I don't know. It started getting a bit weird. I think that's why I stopped watching it. It was going a bit out there, so I kind of lost it with all the spirituality in it. I don't know. I don't know why. I've heard it's very good. You should go back and watch it. I've heard it's a bit divisive. It divides people. Some people love the ending. Some people don't. Let me know what you thought. Acronyms. No, thank you. Is that the word? Abbreviations is wrong, isn't it? An acronym. No excuses, Gray. I know. It's good to see you greeting each other in the chat. Sorry I was going through those too quickly. Let me do that again, properly. I've got to learn to be a live streamer here. I'm learning it. I'm making it up as I go along, as I always say. Acronym says nay, because I was talking about, I didn't know what that you said was, what it meant. I like to see Teahouse is a friend in Australia, well, a YouTubing buddy. He always puts G2CU. G2CU. Good to see you. I can't even say it. I've only had a glass of wine. This reminds me of a quote again in the movie where later on in the movie, Withnail and I, Richard E. Grant is drunk, he's driving drunk, he gets pulled over by the police near the end, and he's trying to say, you know, I'm okay, why did you stop me, officer? It's like, the policeman's like, you're drunk. It's like, I've only had a couple of ales. Something like that. Wait, his delivery is awesome again, I can't do it. I'm not drunk, I've only had a couple of ales. There you go. Great quote. No excuse, says Pete. I know, no excuses. Is that going back to Liverpool, Manchester? Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it, mate? Imagine like growing up in Manchester supporting Liverpool. I had to keep it a secret. But I used to wear the scarf sometimes. Can you believe that? Walking to school with a scarf on and getting a little bit of grief, shall we say, from people in the street. One time I was in Manchester and I've been to see a game in the pub, a Liverpool game, and I had a T-shirt on. And God, someone like nearly attacked me. I'm not joking. Like just because I had the Liverpool T-shirt, walking, you know, through Manchester city centre. Yeah, it was a stupid move. I know. I was young and innocent. What can I say? Just got called a few names. Didn't physically attack me. Well, Nene's had a 5.9% beer. Was it an ale by any chance? I've only had a couple of ales. Perhaps a dark and stormy with a coffee is felicitous. Ooh, sounds very good. I like the sound of that. Is it a coffee stout? Is it a coffee flavoured stout? Hey to Purple. Was Mo playing? G. Oh, you know Mo Salah. Yes, he was. And he had a couple of great shots on target. Great saves by the Real Madrid keeper. He played well. Looked good. Yeah, it was mad. Like the first time was something like 10 shots by Liverpool, 0 by Real Madrid just in the first half, and like 5 or 6 on target. He had a great game there, keeper. I mean, making excuses because Real Madrid won the game. They put the ball in the net, which is what counts. Okay, one of your top 5 favourite films. Purple, really? Oh. Wow, which one was that again? Sorry, I'm gone. Withnail and I. You know what I'm like, I'm just flying around on tangents. Yeah. Okay, Dark and Stormy. Wow, I saw that on the YouTube page, Nene, before it came up on StreamYards. Dark and Stormy, ginger ale and whiskey. I've never heard that before. No way. Dark and Stormy is ginger ale and whiskey. I remember that. That's cool. No, I didn't know. And thank you, Purple, for clarifying one of your favourite films. That's right. Of course it is. I remember now. The Crow. It's a great movie. Haven't seen that in a long time. Time for a rewatch, I think. Yeah, I think we talked about it, didn't we, on one of maybe Salty streams or in the studio? I'm not sure. They're talking about a remake, aren't they? I mean, have they been trying to make it for a while? Is that right? No, I say no. No to that. Maybe you can hear me. I'm a bit blocked up today. I had been suffering from hay fever in Japan. A bit sniffly, runny nose. Don't worry, I've not got the coof. Itchy eyes. I had really real red eye today as well. Looking all right now, I think. Has it gone okay? Is it time for some ASMR? I'm joking. Okay. Been going for an hour and 23. No way, that's more than I thought I was going to. Right. Before we finish, let's just do another clip. Time for a clip, and we'll see if I get like in trouble later. Let me give you the cake shop scene, because it is a classic.
You're drunk. Just bring out the cake and fine wine.
If you don't leave, we'll call the police.
Balls. We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
Miss Blenner has it. Telephone the police.
That scene goes on like they're, you know, I say they've come out the pub, they're steaming drunk, They go to the cake shop, this really posh cake shop, to soak up the booze. And the owner, this old man, is like, call the police. You know, we've got 2 drunks in the tea shop in Penrith. And then they start saying, Withnail and I, the 2 guys, are like, we are multimillionaires. We're going to buy this tea shop and we're going to sack you. It's like, you're fired. You're fired. We're going to sack you. And we're going to put a jukebox in here and liven you stiffs up. Liven all you old stiffs up. It's a great line again by Richard E. Grant. It's delivered, and according to the director's commentary, he wasn't supposed to laugh during that. He was supposed to play it straight, and he couldn't do it. They took multiple retakes of that line where he's saying, you know, we're going to buy a jukebox, put it in the tea room, you know, and liven you all up. And he just couldn't deliver it straight. But I like the laughing. It looks natural, and he's laughing. And then Paul McGann, he starts laughing too. You can see them both like laughing. It looks real, but he recovers and he carries on with the scene. It's a great scene. Okay, Pete. There you go. The only problem he finds with compiling a top 5 is that once I'm finished, I always think of other films I really like. That's so true, mate. Even with top 10s, it happens all the time with me. It happens with films, with TV, with albums, with books. They're always changing. It can change day by day, can't it? It can change depending on the mood you're in. You know, again, with films and TVs we watch, we could enjoy it one day. Another day, it could leave us a bit like, oh, you know, wait a minute, what did I see in that? Which is what I think Nana thinks about this movie, about Withnail and I. Oh, dear. Let me put it back on the screen to show before we finish. Here we go. Let's get a picture of Withnail and I. There you go. There they are. The 2 great actors. Great performances by them both in this film. Paul McGann, a young Paul McGann on the left there with the glasses, and Richard E. Grant on the right. And they've got like a 1960s version of the Daily Mirror, a real tabloid British paper. Withnail's character reads a couple of stories from that, which are really funny, like really set the scene, set the moment. There's actually one of the stories in the Daily Mail, in the Mirror, is about a transvestite, a sex change story, which is like funny, isn't it? Because back then it was popular, you know, it was in the news, and it was a scandal, shall we say, back then. But these days it's become very topical, shall we say, hasn't it? Yeah, there were nice like nods to the 60s, you know, when you see for example, the matches they're using to light the cigarettes, the bottles of the beer and the wine, some of the things that they've got it looking really, really good. So you only really know it's from the later period when you see the driving scene on the motorway, but most people would miss that unless they're from the UK. You know, they wouldn't realise that the traffic signs, the motorway signs, are from a later date. Okay, nay, some recipes say use rum. Ooh, ginger ale and rum. That reminds me of an old cocktail that I tried once. I never heard of it before. An Irish friend introduced me in Japan. I'm friends with an Irish guy here. They're called light bulbs. Have you heard of a light bulb? I think it's champagne and vodka. Oh, Jesus. Sounds dangerous. Tell you what, the champagne's great because, you know, it gives you the bubbles, the fizz gives you a buzz. They call them light bulbs because apparently if you have too many, it's like switching off a light. Boom, there you go. You're out, you're gone, the light's off. I think I had a good night on those. Just don't remember it. Just saying. No, it was a good night. I do remember most of the night. It was a good night. Okay, thanks, Purple. So going back to The Crow movie, yeah, Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. Tragic, what happened to him? The remake is coming, sadly. Bill Skarsgård is going to play Eric Draven. Really? Wow. Bill Skarsgård. Wait a minute. Was he the one in the Northman? I'm getting mixed up with. There's a Bill, there's a Peter, similar name with a Peter Skarsgård or Sarsgaard. God, sorry, I get these names mixed up. Need Pete's help. Pete in the chat. Bar looks like I'm an error here. It's rum and not whiskey. Boo! Okay, you've made your original cocktail. You've got to give it a name now. Please give a name to, what do you say? Do you say whiskey and ginger ale? Actually, that's a drink my mum, God rest her soul, that's what a drink my mum used to enjoy. She was not much of a drinker, but if she did, she liked whiskey and ginger. as she called it, or a whiskey and coke. Now you're going to have to put rum in it. Yeah, it's like when they play the drinking game with this movie, if you can try and follow. The moment where Richard E. Grant drinks a lighter fluid, you're supposed to take a shot of rum instead. It turns out it's not half bad. Cheers. Kampai. There we go. Cheers, mate. I tell you, can you imagine it? If you've seen the movie, Nene's seen it, there's a lot of drinking in this movie. If you try and play the drinking game and keep going, keep up with it, there's no chance. Look at this, by the way. What a heathen, drinking wine from a cardboard container. It's not bad. It's an Italian Merlot, Syrah Merlot, and it's supposed to be bio. It's a biodegradable. From the local convenience store here. We have 7-Elevens. Can you believe that? 7-Elevens have become popular in Japan as a convenience store. The most famous Japanese convenience store is one called Lawson. Don't ask. There's Lawson, there's Family Mart, and there's Popular. I used to call it Popular, but it's Popular. There you go. Okay, getting sidetracked. Okay, Adi, you're still here, Adi. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you still here. Liam Neeson is coming back to Star Wars universe in an anthology series and possibly in the Obi-Wan series. In Kenobi. Really? I thought he wasn't going to come back. I'd heard rumours that, there's no way he'd come back, but they might use his voice or use an impersonator, and then they'd have to pay him a certain amount anyway for that, but I've heard rumours going to use his voice. Okay, what surprised me about the movie was when so the Paul McGann character, yeah, where are we? Point that way. Paul McGann, the guy on the left with the glasses who played Doctor Who in the American TV movie version back in the day. And he was a very good Doctor Who in my opinion. He declared he wasn't a homosexual. That seemed to be implied, but it turns out he wasn't. It is implied, isn't it? It's implied in the movie. It's implied that they're a couple, but I don't think they are. It's implied that Withnail is, or he could be, but maybe they're both. Maybe they're bi. Doesn't matter. Pennywise, says Pete. Pennywise. What's that from? Tim Curry. God, I used to love Tim Curry in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sure Purple's a fan of that. I'm just guessing. Are you a fan of that, Pete? Oh, that was another movie I went through a phase when I was a teenager. Not saying I want to dress up like Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter, dress up in stockings and whatever. I'm not a sweet transvestite from Transylvania. I'm a very naughty boy. That's life of Brian. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Pennywise. It's a great performance, P, isn't it? In the TV adaptation of... We're talking about It, aren't we? Stephen King's It. Tim Curry plays Pennywise. Yeah? Or are you talking about... Oh, gotcha. Skarsgård in the remake, in the modern movie version. Part 1 and Part 2. Thank you. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else, aren't I? Who's in the Northman. Okay, so he might be playing the Crow character, eh? In the remake. That's interesting. What did you think of him as Pennywise? What was that? Wow, there's a weird noise coming from somewhere. I think it's Mrs. Wakizashi in the tatami room getting a phone call. Don't worry about it. Wow, yeah, I quite enjoyed the remake, but I prefer Tim Curry's version of Pennywise. Tim Curry, just awesome. What a voice. Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon are famous as the grapes you cannot ruin. You can have decent to excellent wine that it's not bad is typo for cardboard drinkies, G. Tut. What can I say? I can get a bottle here in Japan cheaper than this. It works out about 650 yen, which is what? Jesus, what's that? It used to be like 100 yen for $1. It's more than that now. I say call it $6. So I know it's cheap. I'm a cheapo. It's only 500 milliliters. It's not even. It's half. Is it half a bottle or 3/4? I just got it because it's handy. It's convenient. I couldn't be bothered getting a bottle. And if I get a bottle, there's a danger I might drink the whole thing. And then I get in big trouble from Mrs. Wakizashi. And big trouble from my head the next morning. Bang, bang. What were you doing, Gray? Why couldn't you just stop after the first 2 glasses? Heard that before. Okay. Well, I'm really blocked up. My ears are blocked now as well. Can you believe that? I can't even hear myself. Can you still hear me out there? Can you hear me? Is there anybody out there? Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise in the modern It movies. Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for that. I got it. Eventually. Catching up, Gray. Miles away. Did you like his performance as Pennywise? Do you think he'd make a good Eric Draven? Eric Draven the Crow? Could be. Okay, guys, on that note, let me drop one more clip. And it has to be the scene in the pub in the Lake District with the old man who owns the pub, the old drunk. It's a great scene where Withnail and I just buying some drinks, and he's an old drunk who runs the pub. He's already pissed before he even opens it. Very red-faced, great performance by the actor. Don't know who he was. And he puts money in the cash register. The register comes out, hits him in the stomach, knocks him almost down. He's like, no man's put me down yet.
But I was going for a minute. No man's put me down yet. You had any training in the martial arts?
What he says? Have you had any training in the martial arts? And then Withnail goes on to tell a big lie that he used to be in the services, the forces. He was in the territorial army. Oh, God, yeah. Anyway, so, as I say, I'm a big fan of the movie. I recommend it, but maybe you have to be in the right mood to watch it. Maybe the kind of British, dark, sarcastic, black humour might be lost on a lot of people. I don't know how well it'll go down in the States. I don't know how well it'll go down, in different countries where English is not... I don't know. Again, it's British humour, and sometimes it can be stupid. Like, some people love Monty Python, some people hate it, don't they? They just don't get it. But I get what you're saying, guys out there. It can be dark at times. You're seeing a guy who can't get work, Withnail, the main character, who's an alcoholic. And, he's in a bad way. Purple's asking, is that a juice box? It is. It's got grape juice in it. Look at that. I can't believe it. It reminds me of my time in Australia when we used to buy a cask of wine. We were too poor to afford bottles. We used to get casks of wine because you could get more for less money. Oh, man. It was okay for parties, but the next morning, man, those hangovers makes your tongue like... Oh, it reminds me of a quote from the movie, if you can find it, from Withnail. He's talking about his tongue in the movie. Where are we? Look at my tongue. It's wearing a yellow sock. There we go. I feel like a pig shat in my head. That's his hangover. Black puddings are no good to us. I want something flesh. Jesus, don't get me started about black puddings. Crazy British food. The only programme I'm likely to get on is the fucking news, says Withnail. It's great. Okay, yeah, so on that note, finish the comments and I'm going to finish the stream in about 5 minutes. Nene's saying, get some Grand Marnier, orange juice and fruit, you can make sangria. No way, mate, I didn't know Grand Marnier was in sangria. All these years I've been making it wrong. I just thought it was cheap red wine and lots of fruit. Wow. Water and sugar. No way. Okay, I remember that. Thanks for that's a good tip. Okay, cool. Yeah, then Fawlty Towers. That's a great reference. Great shout out. What a series. Again, I've not watched it in years. I don't know if it's kind of aged well or not, but John Cleese's performance in that. Fawlty Towers. Fantastic. The register character, yeah, the old man who owns the pub, he reminds me of the Major from Fawlty Towers. Great one. He does, doesn't he? That's a great pick out. That's a great one. Withnail and I has its moments, like the guy who also has eel in his trousers, eels, yeah. The downward spiral is just too strong. Yeah, no, it's true, mate. It's true. I understand. It is dark. There's a great scene where they meet the poacher in that pub I was showing the clip from in the pub, and he pulls out a couple of, I think one or two, an eel from his trousers. And he pretends it's still alive. He's like, it's still alive, and like he bangs it on the counter. And Withnail's like, let me have one of those eels. Thank you very much for dropping in, Purple. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I'm so glad that you're able to join this time. It's early in the UK, isn't it? I wish I could join more of your streams, because it's always like midnight my time or like 1 a.m. So we're definitely gonna have to get a stream sorted together. Because I really had a good time when you came on a few weeks ago. That was really fun. I learnt it from a book. From Fawlty Towers. Pete, yes. Oh, mate, you made me want to rewatch Fawlty Towers now. Wow. They might have some on YouTube. On that note, I think I will check out. So, thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yeah, right. Boys and girls out there. I hope you've not been watching. As I say, check out the movie. Give it a chance. See what you think. If you don't like it, no problem. Let me know in the comments later on. And I hope to see you in a future video. This has been great fun. I really enjoyed it. I've still got like half a glass of wine here. Look at that. I'm only giving myself very small measures. Look. There you go. Safe. Just saying. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. No, I'm joking. It's Sunday night here. I've got work tomorrow morning. Back to work. Back to reality. Back to teaching some children about shepherd's pie. No, I'll be doing like Withnail and I clips at them. No way. They're too rude. So, shall we finish with one more clip? Not clip, sorry. One more quote, if I could deliver it, because it's a great scene near the end of the movie where Withnail, it's kind of a sad ending, but he's quoting or paraphrasing from Hamlet. Now, I can't do a performance. I can't do a good acting version. I'll just try and read it. Let's see how this goes. Because I'm tired out. I've had a long day. I've watched Liverpool lose to Real Madrid in the European Cup final. Oh, very sad. I'm sure Pete's happy about that. No, I'm joking, Pete. I did some gardening in the morning, some weed. I think that's what set me allergies off again. But again, making excuses. Had a late night last night watching a really good comic book live stream on Thinking Critical's channel. Recommend that, by the way, any comic book fans. They have some pretty harsh takes at times, but they're very funny. They have some good panels on. It's on Saturday night, my time, Japan time, so that's probably what? I don't know if that's UK time. It will be Saturday afternoon, won't it? Anything to say, Mrs. Wakizashi? Good night. Oh, wow, that's a rare one. Did you hear a voice? You might have heard. Very shy, Mrs. Wakizashi. So, yeah, long day, great weekend. Stranger Things 4 was fantastic. I really recommend it, especially the first 4 episodes. So good. Kenobi was a nightmare. Turned it off after 30 minutes. So boring, so poorly written, poorly acted. And on that note, I'm going to say, I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth. And indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory, this most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave overhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, no, nor woman neither, nor woman neither. Now that's Withnail paraphrasing that amazing scene from Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet. And again, that could suggest, that, I don't know about the I character, but certainly Withnail's character could, would be either gay or bi, but it doesn't matter. It's a great performance by all the characters in there. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Not so fast, I might join too. Yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks, Purple. A better time to stream together. Yes, definitely. I know my Japan morning streams is like late night for you. It's not good for you, so evening my time is good for you, isn't it? I think it's like lunchtime your time or morning your time. I can do that. That'd be great. Cheers for the company. Pete, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. I'd love that, says Purpleton A&A. Yeah, me too. I'd love it if he joined us. I'm trying to get A&A to come on one of mine one day. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. You just need a mic. All you need is a good mic. It doesn't have to be a good mic. I've got a cheap mic. It was like $50, the one I use. Don't worry about a camera. You can use a cool avatar like the one you're using there. Cheerio to the nicest little women. 1-0, ha ha ha, says Pete. Yeah, Pete, thanks. Rub it in, mate. Do it. I don't care. Oh, God, we lost. Never mind. It's only a game, eh? Good night, Mrs. Wakizashi. Yeah, I think she's gone. She's escaped upstairs. Hey, it's only 10 to 10 here in the evening, in the night. Good night, Miss Gray. Miss Winterbottom. Okay, on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in a future video. Here we go. Now, where's the play out? This is the one. Wakizashi's Teahouse. Please subscribe. I'm going to keep it on because no one watches this far, do they? No one keeps watching after the credits have rolled. Haha, I'm still here. How are you doing? Good night, take care. Thanks for the chat. Thanks to everyone who watched. Thanks for your comments. You made this so much fun. And I will see you soon. So what do we do now? We hit end broadcast and then we hit it again because it asks you for confirmation. Are you sure you want to end the broadcast?